gap. All these 3-4 actors are in this space. And what we're trying to do is, next, we're trying to make sure that this happens. And so the portal we intend to have on board is to ensure that the accelerators, incubators, and investors and the entrepreneurs are talking to each other. Now, when we talk about investors, we are talking about anybody who has the potential to give money to the startups. At the same time, we're also talking about the accelerators, the incubators. The issue is who is doing what. We have iHubs, iLabs, MLabs, MHubs, and all this. So they can't tell whether they're incubators or accelerators. And we believe once we do this, we'll be in position to know who is and who is playing in this space. Next. Now, why this will be a success is once you reduce information, you bring on board success, you bring on board efficiency and effectiveness. You encourage collaboration. You build a community of practice, because right now everybody's doing something, and at the end of it all, I'm not sure whether we're very effective and we have the impact. And then we have the shared learning environment. And we believe we shall, next steps, we are saying we want to map who is who and who is doing what. We hope we will be able to convene a stakeholders mapping. We intend to do the technical issues, launch the portal. And we are hoping to partner with those 3 people, CSR, Nokia, InfoDev, and the essence is that at the end of it all, this portal should have some direction. I thank you.
Entrepreneurs need a source where they can get access to large pool of funds. And we thought crowdfunding would be that ideal place. Because in the more advanced countries, we found that in the past 3 years, total available crowdfunding capital globally has grown by 125%. Year on year. We in Africa need to tap into that. Some people may not agree with the idea of crowdfunding, but here we can localize it and make it ours and call it connecting people. Nokia? I don't know if you want to take that. So it's about sourcing it and funding it. So I'm sure Nokia will play a great part in that. So if we look at it, we'll run a pilot. That's what we want to do, because it's a new thing in our environment. We have not embraced it that much. So we want to run a pilot to create 2 successful examples of crowdfunding in Africa in the next 18 months. So we start small, because this is about change management. We don't want to start so big and then fail. If you are going to manage change, you need to start on a small scale and then start replicating your successes. So 2 concrete initiatives to learn what will work, and we'll have a small crowd of 5 to 20 investors. And then the next steps after this summit is this working group that we've put together for 3 months to define the 2 pilots. We want to choose the jurisdiction, because this is also very important, of the country with the most enabling environment in Africa, where most investors are or will want to invest. We'll start the pilots and report our findings on these very soon. And who will bring it to execution? It will be Munya. He's not here, but we have several people in our group that will support that. Thank you very much.
So we wanted to address a problem that we found was fundamental, and we've spoken about it, I think, throughout the conference, which is that many SMEs are looking to be investor ready. They're looking to find investors, and many investors are looking for pipeline of early stage SMEs. And the reality is they're not really coming together. So what we want to do is have investor readiness programs. The idea here is not to create something, not to recreate the wheel, but rather to leverage off where incubators often leave, to create a program that specifically helps businesses get to the point at which they're investment ready, have investors nearby who can come in and actually place capital in those early stage businesses. And so why are we different? We're localized. We're leveraging off ideas that currently exist, but we have local hubs where local SMEs with potential are being helped by local capacity builders in institutions that already exist. It's a physical location, and through a certain methodology which is more iterative, through a period of even up to 6 months, these implementers will help the SMEs hit all the problem points that investors are going to ask about. How are we going to do this? First, we're going to identify partners. What we're going to do is, in each of the 3 hubs we've identified to start, one in Kenya, one in Tanzania, and one in Ghana, We're going to identify local partners such as IFC, which has an incubation center here. In Ghana, the Meltwater Academy is already teaching small and growing businesses, and bring in the capacity building expertise to launch these programs. We've already come across a number who are interested in this very thing. They want to come, they want to take part in the programs, and in each of these locations, they're very interested in seeing who will be the SMEs who are the finalists, who are, we say, investor ready. And so what we want to do on execution, maybe we could flip the slide, thanks. What we want to do is we want to identify 3 countries. For Kenya, we've identified 2 organizations that are already plugged in with different SMEs. We want to launch it in Kenya. We want to launch it in Tanzania with people with incubator experience, and again in Ghana with an existing location. So the goal is within 18 months, we're not only going to have these 3 hubs up and running with partnerships, but we're also going to have our first class of SMEs already finish the program and having already gotten and met with different investors.
Thank you very much.
All right. Cameras. Action. So who here believes that there needs to be financial inclusion for everybody? By a show of hands. Thank you. We agree with you also. The only problem is that despite the evidence that mobile technology gets things out to the hinterlands, the regulators and the bankers seem to be slow to move. So we decided that yes, we all want mobile banking services for all. However, in order to make this happen, we wouldn't necessarily destroy the existing system, but we'd have to get them involved also. Whatever solution we came up with had to take into account those who don't have, as well as those who already have. That's mobile banking services for all. So we determined to establish an initiative, and that initiative would do 3 things. It would first of all create a mobile banking mechanism and toolkit that would enable incumbent banks, money transfer agencies or providers, as well as new entrants to provide banking services through mobile channels. What that basically means that is all that you get right now at a bank, you should be able to get on a mobile device. And that includes those places that are profit centers right now in the cities, as well as in the rural areas. Second, we would create toolkits and curriculums that enables participants to promote and provide universal financial services and education. The education is extremely important because right now, one of the major problems is that people don't even know how to manage money. If you provide credit, and the credit is used for consumer purposes or consumption, rather than for creation of wealth, then you've got a cyclical problem. Further, we would develop policy and regulatory recommendations to encourage the expansion of full mobile banking services. Thanks. Why will this be a success? Because we believe that by offering interest-bearing accounts, essentially we'd be able to bring the bankers together with those who are underserved. We would then, in order to do this, follow up with the World Bank and African Development Bank, and then we would design a concept note and then approach the central banks who are key to providing the regulatory change.
We have a proposal of a system for harnessing innovation, ecosystem, and technologies for adaptation to climate change. Our proposal is to establish a system that has 2 components. One of them is the open climate change data platform designed to establish for promoting climate change-related open data and information. And the second one is the development of application and solution by innovation system at local, national, and regional level. And here we have a diagram where we show what will be the actors that will be part of this system. At the bottom of the climate change, the government, the affected entities and interested parties, and the climate change-related information management system that would have data sets and maps, open, free, climate change-related data, ICT-based application, open application, satellite imagery, sensors, nodes, and on the other side, the innovation system. I believe that part of the participants here are part of the innovation system that will be challenged to develop application, low-cost devices and sensors, and early warning system to help the developing countries. Why would it be a success? we'll be addressing one of the problems on climate change, which is the lack of data and application for addressing climate change in Africa, mainly focusing on food security and safety. And the next step will be to introduce this approach as an issue for the Rio 20 by the African Development Bank and the World Bank. And the second step will be to mobilize climate change champions and interested stakeholders to develop proof of concepts. For example, Nokia, academia, Open Innovation Africa Summit communities, follow up with the international financial institution. And who will bring this forward? The World Bank and IISSD and the CSRR. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. One of the areas that we critically look at for developing the ICT e-transformation in Africa is attracting foreign direct investment. The second part is we will run it in pilot. There will be a bottom-up approach, and then there will be a top-down approach as well. And the major components will be selection of indicators. There is a broad range of ITU indicators, and each participating country will look at how that indicator relates to their own development and what the investors will require. And then they will design the template, and then they will look at the supply and demand chain as well. The second part is we will look at data gathering and then reporting system on annual basis and then on a periodic basis as well, which will span across the household survey, the user demand, and then the implication to the economy. Data checking as well, harmonization and updating will also be done. Now, in it all, this will build the capacity of the participating country in generating data, in presenting data to the investors so that they'll be able to make intelligent decisions on how to and where to put the money. This will also drive some of the initiative that is currently going on in the world, which is open government partnership, whereby government should make the data available to improve governance. The next slide is, there's currently, why is it a success? There's currently absence of timely public data. This initiative will drive that as well. Our next step, we will develop a polished project concept note to discuss with partnering country fundraising and development, create expression of interest from African countries, and identify key ICT indicators that should be used. Ownership will be the government, ICT ministries, NRAs, and then funding from AFDB and technical assistance from partners.
All right. Come with me to Africa, where education has mainly been 1 + 1 is what? 2 + 2 is what? What does 1 mean? So what we'd like to do is change our learning or improve our learning, because creativity is equal to innovation. And what we'd like to do is provide local, relevant, and creative content to primary education in 4 African countries, namely Kenya, English-speaking, Tanzania, Swahili-speaking, Nigeria, English-speaking, and Ivory Coast, French-speaking. We trust this will be scalable across Africa with the 4 different languages. How we'll do this? We'll bring together local content developers that will bring and provide creative content in learning in primary education. Where will this be done? In 6,000 primary schools at a cost of $2 per school, or per person rather. We will be using innovative content, innovative learning platforms, and innovative multimedia platforms. Could you go down to the slide further down? And in those innovative platforms, there's another slide, I think. And in the innovative platforms, we will be using things like solar, projectors that are solar powered, and those innovations will there provide innovative learning. We trust that a lot of you will join us in this. We believe that there are very many creative innovators in here, and you'll be thinking of seeing how we can turn maths into fun, English into fun and storytelling, that is the African language, geography into maps, and we'll begin, and what we want to do is develop the concept and do away with several educational divides. The first divide we're doing away with is the digital divide. The second divide is learning by multimedia. The third divide is using creativity for innovation. We hope to start a project concept paper that we will call you all to sit together with us and give us your ideas on different innovative concepts for teaching and learning. And after that, we will create a roundtable discussion and develop the concept paper further. And once we are done with that, we will prepare a detailed project paper distributed to all for your comments. And once we get that, we hope that the people with the banking money will give us some money for us to do this work. Welcome to the Creativity Learning School. Thank you.
So, you know, we've all seen the stats, 180 million mobile phones with internet access in Africa. It's amazing, you know, and a lot of research has been done to publish all of those stats. But I can promise you that the person that is counted doesn't know that it's counted. You know, he's never in his life browsed, experienced content on these phones. Although his phone is enabled to use the internet, he never knows that. And that's a huge challenge for us. You know, I think that a very small percentage of people actually go onto their mobile phones and download things out of that 180 million people. So, you know, we have all this innovation and funding and, you know, and hubs, but it's, the whole value chain is broken. Because all we do is we push and we create, and all of a sudden we end. You know, how do we get it to the masses? And that's the issue that we're trying to solve with a new, better and more efficient distribution channel. So yes, there are current distribution channels out there. You know, all the phone manufacturers and the operators try and do it. But we really have to think back to Africans and what we do and what's inherent in our, you know, what are we born with. So we are social people. We trust people. We communicate face to face. And we move in these social circles. And if we can influence that social circle to educate people and learn and enable people to download content on their mobile phones, I think we're winning. And we see that we need to empower you know, the matatu driver, the owner of a spaza shop, with a relevant content distribution model that he makes money from, that he can communicate to his audience in his area and say, download these things, it will empower you,